All right, today I'm going to be showing you guys how to scrape any website using Make.com automation. I'm going to be walking through the entire scenario. Some pieces of it may be a little bit complex, but I'm going to explain everything in depth so you guys can get, a full understanding of it. All right, so let's get into it. So this is the scenario that we're going to be walking through. And so you guys can have some context on what our client was looking for. I'm sure you guys are familiar with how wholesale distributors work, but in case you don't, I'm going to give you a brief explanation. So these wholesale distributors will contact vendors to set up wholesale accounts with them to buy their bulk goods at a discounted rate and then resell them to other retailers or on other markets. So these wholesale distributors will go to trade shows to set up relationships and wholesale accounts with these vendors. And so at these trade shows, there'll be hundreds of vendors that are going, and they're basically looking to set up accounts with distributors, and vice versa. Distributors are looking to set up accounts with these vendors. So that's one of the ways that these wholesale distributors and vendors get in contact with each other. And before they go to these trade shows, they'll get a long list of these vendors, basically a vendor directory. So I'm going to be showing you guys what that looks like right now. So we built this out for the ASD trade show. This is just an example of one of them. So I'm looking for the vendor directory here. Let's see. Distributor dashboard. Well, I have the link right here, so I'll just use this. So this is the directory that you'll get before you go to the trade show. And basically these wholesale distributors want to check out these vendor directories first and basically establish like a kill list of the vendors that they want to target, because they don't want to walk into these trade shows unfamiliar with who they're going to talk to, because then it's just going to be a waste of time. It's not going to be an efficient process. So they want to basically set up a kill list before and find the vendors that they want to target, so that they go in there with a list of people they need to talk to, and they can get in and get out and get the job done. So that's what they basically look to do with these vendor directories. So they'll set up basically a sheet or an Excel sheet with all the vendors, and then they'll set up a second sheet basically filtered out with the ones that they're going to target. So that's basically a big time-consuming process that we're looking to automate for them. So what we did here, now we're going to get into the actual scenario. So we basically used an HTTP request to pull all the data on this page. So we're pulling the vendor directory, and we're pulling, I'll show you guys what that looks like here. So this is a super long string of text here, but this is basically all of the data on that page. So you can see it's absurdly long. But yeah, so then through this, you get all of these links or all of the names of the vendors in the directory. And you see how many pages, there's a bunch of vendors here. So before we actually go into Make.com and start building out these scenarios, you kind of want to scope out the project and see the different data points that you need and how you want to go about the actual automation. So prior to building out this scenario, we kind of conceptualize the end goal here. So what we want to be doing is basically mimicking one of their actual employees, where they go into all of these vendors and kind of check them out and scope out whether they fit their business or not. So they'll open these websites and see the products they sell, where they sell, if they're a good fit for their business. So end goal in regards to our automation project is going in through this vendor directory, finding the links and scraping all of the data from every single vendor, and then basically inputting that into an AI decision matrix to filter out which of these vendors align with our client. So we're basically gonna have to pull all the data from this vendor directory, then enter into these sublinks, and then scrape all the data from each vendor, enter it into our AI decision matrix, which then it'll provide which of the vendors align with our client. So that's basically what we're doing here. So this is just we're pulling the data from the full vendor directory. I have the sleep module here to, when you're pinging these large sites, you kind of want to mimic a human user, because some of these sites with a lot of traffic kind of have security systems in place to stop like basically robots from pinging their website. So this is basically sleeping for 30 seconds in case we want to continuously run this automation, and we don't want to be constantly pinging it back and forth. Then we get into the HTML to text module, where we're basically making this long string of text readable. So I'm going to run that real quick. let's set this to 1 second for now, just so that we can ping this. So I'm just going to be showing you guys the output of each module so that you guys can kind of conceptualize what we're doing. So you see now we can actually read this text and kind of figure out what we need to be doing here. So during the process of scoping out the project, we kind of want to see how we're going to be pulling these sublinks, because that's one of the big pain points behind the automation, is how we're actually going to be opening these vendors basically home pages and then scraping the data from there. So once we open these pages, we can see that they all have the same link, and it's just the last 4 numbers that are changing. So basically on the back end of the server, every single vendor has their own corresponding code basically. So for, you know, Nice Fine Wholesale, that's 1128. If we open another vendor, their code is 1009. So we can see that all we need to pull is this 4-digit code, and then kind of set it up as a dynamic URL where we can just input this 4-digit code and scrape the data from every single vendor's homepage basically. So you can see that through this, you can see their codes are all present in this HTML. So in order to set up this regex, I like to use this site called regex.ai, where you can basically input. So I'll show you how I go about the actual process. So let's copy a piece of this string. This should be good. Yep. So you're going to input this long string into this regex text body. So the way that it works is you're basically highlighting the pieces of the expression that you want to pull, and then the AI will basically generate the regular expression for you. So it's better if I show you, hold on. It's better if I show you the actual process so you guys can conceptualize it. So that's one of the codes for the vendors. There's another one. Another one. So we're just pulling that last 4-digit code for every vendor so that we can set up those dynamic URLs like I was talking about. Okay, this should be enough. So then you're going to run it on the back end, and then it's basically going to provide a bunch of different regular expressions, and then you're going to find the output that matches what you're looking for. So we can see that this regular expression actually produced all those last 4 digits for the entire expression. So I'd actually highly recommend using this site if you're looking to develop a regular expression. So then I'll enter it into regex 101, and I'll basically try to finalize the regular expression to make sure that it's working perfectly. So I already did this process once. So in order to not make this video, you know, like an hour long, I'm gonna just show you the finalized code here. So that's what we got here, and to make sure this is working, we're gonna test it. So let's unlink this and run it. Set this back up to 1. Is it 1? Yeah. All right, let's see how it does here. So you can see it's pulling that last 4-digit code for all of the vendors. So we have 50 bundles. So you kind of just like to tap around and make sure that, you know, none of these are messed up. All right, and then these are the settings that I was using for the regular expression module. So then we're setting up these dynamic URLs. So we're then just using a set multiple variables module and creating this dynamic URL variable. We're then making another HTTP request, and we're writing out the full URL. So this is what it looks like here. So we're just writing this piece, then just inputting that last 4-digit code so that we can automate the process of opening all these sublinks and, you know, scraping the data from those vendor homepages. So once that is done, then we're going to use the same HTML to text module so that we can pull that data. And then we're just using a GPT. So I tried a variety of different methods to pull the name or to scrape the actual data from these pages. So name, what we do, and stuff like that. So in the beginning, I was using regular expression or another piece of regex to pull the what we do, like this text, and the same with the website and the school and the keywords and stuff like that. But I found that GPT just does it really well, and it's simpler. So I just input the entire HTML to text into the GPT, and then the GPT will grab the name. It'll then add it to a Google Sheet, and then it does the same for the website and adds it to a Google Sheet. So you can grab more fields. You can grab, you know, keywords, categories, and stuff like that. But this information wasn't that valuable to our client because they like to actually go into the website and you know, scope out the actual client from there, and not from, you know, this broad general information that ASD provides for the vendor. So this is the first of 3 scenarios that we built out for this project. I can't show you guys the remaining scenarios, but because I was just specified or directly customized for our client. So, but I hope this vid provided a lot of value for you guys, where you guys can now scrape any website you want using the variety of different tools that I showed you today. I hope you guys enjoyed and feel free to leave a comment if you have any questions.